Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Housing Matters. This is a summit dedicated to one of the most pressing challenges of our time, creating affordable and adequate housing to all. I'm Carlotta Rebello, I'm the executive producer at Monocle, and I'll be your host for today. Now, across Europe and around the world, housing affordability has become one of the defining urban challenges of our time. Cities are growing, demand is rising, and yet for many residents, a home that is both affordable and in a good location is becoming increasingly difficult. Today is all about finding the bold solutions, putting the spotlight on some of the collaborative efforts happening globally, and exploring how we can replicate this in cities and towns and municipalities around the world. We're here to share best practices and forge partnerships, and we can't do that and turn it into meaningful action without you. We need your help, and we need you to engage not just with the program here on stage, but with one another, and to connect and hopefully take some of these ideas back home with you. Now, I know that not everyone loves icebreakers at the start of the day, but we need to do them. So, for show of hands, who was here last year at Housing Matters? Okay, so a few repeats, but very glad to see a bunch of new faces in the room. Now, this is our QR code for Slido, and this helps us understand a bit more about who you are and where you come from, and actually what you want to take away from this week here at MIPIM. So I'll invite everyone to scan the code and answer just 4 simple questions along with us. The first one is to tell us a bit about your company activity. So in my case, I'm press, I'm media. So what is your company activity? And we will slowly wait for some of those answers. So far, I can see only one of you has scanned the code. So we need this collaboration in order for these discussions to be successful. Excellent. The number is increasing. I love to see it. Thank you. Let's see what we get as the main company activity. There we go. I'll read through some of the other questions slowly. Please submit your answers for all 4 questions in order for us to have a complete survey. So after company activity, what we want to know is which country you're from. Last year we did this by regions, but we actually wanted to be a bit more specific this year to get a true understanding of who's here in the room. And that hopefully helps you as well if you are particularly looking for partners or to connect with people in particular nations to see some of those answers. And maybe then during the coffee break, you get a chance to meet. So what is your company activity? Other is leading, and that doesn't tell us anything, does it? But glad to see developer, public authorities, investor, media, and broker, and also civil society right there at the end showing up. Yes, let's move on to the second question. This is about which country you are from. And after that, we are going to ask you about your expectations for Housing Matter. Now, we want this, you don't need to write a big text, but just tell us a bit about what you want to get out of here today. Is it case studies? Is it finding an investor? Is it showcasing your project and putting it in front of a global audience? Just a few words so that we get a sense of who's here in the room with us. Slowly, the countries trickling in. Very glad to see my home country of Portugal there in bold. So, hola to everyone in the room. And then the final question that we have, and I'm going to read it already, just so you can start thinking about it. It's, what is your definition of affordable housing? Now, this is a question we're going to debate a lot here today, because what one nation or one sector of society defines as affordable doesn't necessarily mean is the same for all. So we are curious on how you would define that, either in words or percentage of income. So I'll let you finish the survey. There you go, the definition of affordable housing, composed by you guys here in the room. Excellent. Not to continue just with housekeeping, but if you do need translation for any of the sessions happening here today, we will have also throughout the afternoon a QR code for Kudo. Now this allows you to choose your preferred language to follow any of the sessions that might not be in English, or if indeed you need a different language that is not English. So this code will come back a bit later as well. Now that's enough for me and enough housekeeping, because it's time to get on with the program. We know, and I am going to keep hammering on this point, that the solutions to the housing crisis are only through collaboration and global perspective. So a big thank you to you for engaging and for being here in the room to start us off. So to give you a proper welcome to what's set to be an incredible afternoon and an incredible week, please welcome to the stage the Director of MIPIM, Nicolas Boffy. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, mayors and ministers, distinguished guests, dear MIPIM friends, welcome to Housing Matters and welcome to MIPIM. We meet in Cannes at a very tense moment. Of course, we cannot miss the news, and our thoughts are with our friends, partners and all the people living in the Middle East, and more broadly, across the world, with all the people experiencing hard times. So more than ever, geopolitics is no longer just a background noise. It affects energy, it affects inflation, migration, confidence, and ultimately, it affects our cities. And when global uncertainty rises, one question becomes brutally local: where can people live? And at what cost? This is why Housing Matters is the political moment of MIPIM. Not politics as theaters or as role-playing. Politics as social contract and responsibility, because housing is policy you can touch, is finance with a human face. It's sometimes the difference between social peace and social anger. And this is exactly what it belongs at MIPIM. Because MIPIM is where decision makers meet, city leaders, investors, developers, operators, designers, is where projects become possible because the right people are in the same room. And Housing Matters is our reminder that the purpose of this room is not only to build assets, but to create cities that work. So what did we do the last Housing Matters and in the recent years? We did something absolutely essential. We named the problem. We established a shared diagnosis where sustainability targets, construction costs, and social expectations collide. So we had to do it. We agreed on the facts. But with respect, now is a time for solution. And the good news is they exist and they are not abstract. They are already being tested, already being funded, already being regulated or deregulated around the world. And importantly, several ministers are in the room. They are not here to listen politely. They have plans. They have instruments. They have choices to defend and to confront. So let's be practical. Let's compare the models without ideology and steal the ideas with no shame. Let's talk about Austria's long-term affordable approach, which treats affordability as an infrastructure, not as charity. Let's talk at the model of Tokyo, very deregulated model, and what it teaches us about supply responsiveness. Let's talk and let's debunk the office to residential conversion. Technically possible, financially still very difficult. But some cities, some countries, they know how to do it. Let's highlight the cities that have real pipeline. Sites, permits, partners, delivery capacity, not just incantations. So in short, less poetry and more plumbing. Because in housing, the only thing more expensive than building is not building. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get our hands on the solutions. And to start this session accordingly, please welcome on stage the Executive Director of the United Nations Habitat, Anna Claudia Rosbach. Thank you.